Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aulia Putri. In here, I will explain about my proposal. So the title of my proposal is the use of small group discussion in teaching reading English at 7th grade of Junior High School 6 Lempuing in the academic year of 2020 and 2021. So teaching and learning activities are activities that involve teachers and students to achieve effective, creative, professional, and fun learning goals. The skill of teacher in teaching also determine the success or failure of the learning activities carried out. Small group discussions are activities that involve a group of students to interact in order to solve a problem. Students are asked to put forward their ideas to solve a problem. So this small group discussion must be carried out in the orderly manner so that a problem can be resolved. This research is to find out whether students can participate in small group discussions, because most students are shy to express their opinion and some are even indifferent during discussions. There are also students who are less active during discussion due to a lack understanding of the topic being discussed. So, research problem. Based on the background of the proposal that I have described above, the problem formulation in this study are: how to apply the small group discussion method in learning to read English for 7th grade students of Junior High School 6 Lempuing. How are the learning outcomes of 7th grade Junior High School 6 Lempuing students in learning to read English before and after applying the small group discussion method? And the last, how does the application of the small group discussion method affect students' learning outcomes? So, the objectives of the research. Based on the formulation of the problem above, that objective of the study are: to determine the application of the small group discussion method in learning to read English for 7th grade students of Junior High School 6 Lempuing. How are the 7th grade students' learning outcomes in learning to read English at Junior High School 6 Lempuing? And the last, to determine the effect of the application of the small group discussion method on improving the learning outcomes of 7th grade students in learning to read English at Junior High School 6 Lempuing. So, research design. This study used a quantitative method with quasi-experimental design involving two classes. One class was given a new treatment, X1, small group discussion strategy, and the other was treated as well, but there was a difference with the previous class, X2, conventional strategy. Pretest in research design is researchers explain and provide directions to students about what students will do and provide reading text for both. Treatment. After the researcher gave a pretext to the students, each meeting lasts for 90 minutes, and in each meeting the researchers gave treatment to each class by giving treatment 4 times. For the experimental class using the small group discussion strategy treatment, and for the control class using the conventional strategy treatment. And the last is post-test. After being given the treatment for the control class and experimental classes, students were given a written test for both the experimental class and the control class, and then the researcher gave a score for students' learning outcomes. Variables. The research variables is the effectiveness of the small group discussion strategy in improving reading comprehension students at 7th grade of Junior High School 6 Lempuing. There are two variables in this study consisting of the dependent variables and independent variables. Dependent variables is the teaching reading English. Independent variables is the use of small group discussions. Population and sample. According to Brown, says that 4 individual research who have the same characteristic will make each individual attractive, while Gay says the population is the group that research are interested in. The Gay also wants his research result to be generalized. So population in this study were students in 7th grade of Junior High School 6 Lempuing. There are two classes. The number of students in class 7A was 25 students, and 7B was 25 students. So total population were 15 students. Sample. In this study, research used purposive sampling technique. The technique is used to determine the sample based on the certain considerations. So the sample for this research are 7A and 7B classes were selected for the research class. For class 7A as the experimental class and 7B as the control class. For the experimental class was given treatment with the small group discussion strategy, and for the control class was given treatment with the conventional strategy. Each class was chosen a sample because according to information from the English teacher at the school, the students' reading comprehension in that was still low and less attractive to students. Instrument. Carlinger argues that to collect data in a research instrument is an important tool. The research instrument was a writing test. Most of these instruments are used to measure achievement in education in examinations. To obtain information about students' ability before the teaching and learning process is called the pre-test, while the post is to get information about students. So, collecting data. To collecting data, the researchers gave a test before and after treatment. The test used in this study is writing to conclude reading comprehension. This test is given to students during the pre-test and post-test. For pre-test, prior the treatment, students were given a pre-test, namely a reading test to measure students' reading comprehension before the teaching and learning process. And then post-test, after doing the treatment, the researcher also conduct the same test as the pre-test to determine students' reading comprehension after carry out the teaching and learning process. So, technique of data analysis. Data were collecting from students' reading comprehension tests and analyzed quantitatively. Student scores can be concluded by the following formula: a score of 0 until 46, including as very bad; a score of 47 until 56, including as bad; a score of 57 until 66, including a moderate; a score of 67 until 76, including a quiet good; a score of 77 until 86, including a good; a score of 87 until 96, including a very good; and a score of 97 until 100, including excellent. So, this technique aims to see the difference between the post-test for the experimental class and the control class to find out difference between the pre-test for the experimental class and control class. Researcher will calculate student score by t-test. So after the t-test, the result were compared with the t-table. If t-test is lower than t-table, then this research is not effective, and if t-test is higher than t-table, then this research is effective. Okay, I think that's all for my explanation today about my proposal. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.